Welcome to The Big Picture Live, the show about picture book creators and how they make the magic happen. I'm your host, Andrea Davis Pinkney. Thanks for joining us on our world premiere live stream. Each year, the Randolph Caldecott Medal is given to the artist of the most distinguished American picture book. And today, our very own Sophie Blackall is here to help us premiere our first show. Sophie, you were awarded this year's Caldecott Medal. Congratulations.
Thank you
Now,
so
it's your
much.
second medal. You won your first medal for Finding Winnie, the true story of the world's most famous bear. I love this book. And this year you won for HELLO Lighthouse. If anybody has some questions for Sophie, they can post them in the comments section. I have a question. Where were you when you found out you won that medal? Everybody wants to know that.
It's always the question. I was actually in Myanmar in Southeast Asia, and it was nighttime, early in the morning here, but I was on my way walking to dinner with my father and stepmother, and as we crossed a street, I felt a warm splatter on my shoulder, which is and the beating of a pigeon wings departing above my head, and it was a gift from the sky, and it was kind of, but everybody around me laughed and pointed and gestured that it was a lucky sign. So I guess even in Burmese, pigeon poop is good luck, and then it turned out to be so because my phone rang not very long after that gift. So
the bird poop and then the phone, we're all going to hope that we are so lucky to have that gift from the sky.
I think it is a lucky sign, yes.
Sophie, how many women have won the Caldecott Medal?
Over the years, the medal was first given in 1938, and the first winner was a woman, Dorothy Lathrop. And since then, about 27 of the 81 people have been women, but some of those have worked in partnerships, so fewer women have won on their own. So it feels especially important.
Of course, you're really elevating the canon, so we appreciate that. Now, you must have loved to draw as a kid.
I did.
Did you have a favorite book? Did you like to draw certain things?
I love to draw, and I was very fortunate. I grew up with a mother who always gave me art supplies and books in the house. And one of my favorite books was this one. I don't know if you know this book, The Country Bunny.
Oh, The Country Bunny. Love that book.
It's such a book, and it was written in 1939, and I think it was really ahead of its time. It's probably the first feminist picture book, I would like to say. And by that I just mean it is a book that shows that girls and boys are equal and that girls can do anything that boys can do. And it is the story of a little country bunny who wants to become the Easter Bunny when she grows up. And the rich white bunnies laugh at her, and the tall jackrabbits make fun of her and tell her to go and eat a carrot. And she says, "Wait and see." And she grows up and has 21 babies because that's what rabbits do. And when they're a little bit older, she teaches them how to run the house because she is wise. And if only I had taught my children so well. But they sweep the floors and they make the beds and they cook and they mend. And then this is the bit that I got to in this book as a child that possibly changed my life, because to two of her children, she gave paints and brushes, and they painted beautiful pictures for the house. And I realized right there and then that this was as important a job as any of these others. And I thought, I could be an artist, that could be my job. And also I could be a mother at the same time. So this book taught me all of those things, and it has the most wonderful ending. I'm not going to spoil the whole ending for you, but rest assured it's a happy one, and the Country Bunny does become one of the 5th Easter bunnies. It's a beautiful book.
That is an amazing book. Right, we have to see it to believe it. You know, it's really true.
Yeah.
And you've done it all. Mommy, artist, 2-time Caldecott Award winner. How do you stay creative? How do we stay creative just as people? You know?
I think playing is incredibly important. I think drawing and having art supplies around, but they don't have to be fancy. You can draw on any scrap of paper, on the bus, on the train, after dinner, we always have paper and pens around. And when I was a kid, one of my favorite games to play, and one that I always play with my own kids, in Australia we call it Mr. Squiggle. Are you familiar with Mr. Squiggle?
I don't know that one.
Somebody draws a squiggle and the other person has to turn it into a picture. And it should not be scary because it can be anything. So are you game to draw me a squiggle? And I'm going to try my best to turn it into something.
Am I game to draw a squiggle for Sophie Blackall? I think I'm going to do that.
I think you've got this. I think you've got this.
All right, so I'm just drawing the squiggle.
All right, this is live TV.
Right,
I'm not at all scared right now.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh my, whoa. Whoa.
I'm a little squiggle happy here.
Oh my goodness. All right, this is alarming.
No pressure.
But not too alarming. Okay, I'm gonna go in here like this. And I'm gonna go, I've got this little tricky brush which is sort of a pen and sort of a paintbrush. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but some of you might have some idea where I'm going. I think I'm gonna go over here next, and I'm gonna go over here. And I'm gonna put a circle up here. And I'm gonna put a little smaller circle inside that circle like that.
Look, Mom, and Sophie Blackall is drawing on my squiggle.
And then another one over here. And and then, I'm gonna put some dots here and some whiskers. And then I think it needs ears, but what did you think it's, it's doggy floppy ears or pointy cat ears?
I'm actually seeing walrus.
A walrus.
That's the first thing
it's
I
got whiskers now. Oh, let's make it a walrus.
Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of drawing. You can turn it into anything. Let's make it into a walrus.
A
with
squiggle
tusks.
becomes a walrus.
Oh, I love that. In that case, it just needs some sort of little bit more happening around.
And this reminds me, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's like you see what you see.
It's a walrus.
It's a walrus.
We did that.
It is a Sophie Blackall walrus.
I think it's only fair that we switch this around and that is clearing this off right now.
Okay, wait a minute. What are we doing now?
I'm going to draw you a squiggle, and you are going to turn it. It's going to be fantastic.
So
I have absolute
We're doing
faith.
a squiggle swap.
A squiggle swap.
Okay.
Say that 3 times quickly.
So
squiggle swap. Squiggles,
you're going to draw the squiggle, and then what am I doing?
You are turning it into a picture. And it's all right. Just the world is watching.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go after Sophie Blackall.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this
look,
is way
Mommy
more fun.
again. I am drawing with Sophie Blackall. A beautiful dress.
Ah,
A dancing lady.
I love it.
We'll give her a little hem. There we go.
Fantastic.
And she's happy. She's
Oh,
happy.
yeah. Well, who
she's
wouldn't
happy.
be happy when they're dancing?
So that is gorgeous.
And remove this.
And what I love about it is, anybody can do this. It is a great game for kids and families. You can go all day on that.
If you go to a diner that has paper on the tablecloth and they don't mind you drawing on it, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Sophie, would you draw us a lighthouse?
I will. A lighthouse is
well beyond the squiggle.
Slightly more involved than a
Yes.
squiggle. And I'm going to bust out all of the paints and all of the tools. One of the best fun things about being an illustrator is all of the tools. I don't work on the computer. I like to get my hands dirty. One of the things I use that is a little unusual is the Chinese ink. Have you ever seen this before?
I've never seen that, but I did read that you use that for Hello Lighthouse.
Yeah, I use it for all my books. So this stick is the ink, and this is a stone. And you dip the stick in water here, and then you grind it on there to make ink.
Wow.
Do you want to have a go at that?
Okay. So the ink is being produced as I'm
You're just
kind of grinding
that
it.
ink stick down with water in there.
Wow.
And then on my piece of prepared watercolor here, paper here, I'm going to just put some clean water up the top to wet this paper.
And I'm just going to keep on getting you your
This is
China
where
ink here,
our sky
right?
is going to go. And then I'm going to dip into some of this lovely ink that you've made and just put in some clouds. This is a little kind of Bob Foss going here.
A little choreography. Now,
not Bob Ross. That's who I'm thinking of, right? The television artist.
It's all creative. Yeah, I'm thinking Bob Fosse.
It's Bob Ross.
Now
that's because I'm Australian. I don't
you
really
have
know
taped
what
that
it is.
down, right?
I have taped this
got it nice and smooth
down.
there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So watercolor paper, when you make it wet, goes all wobbly, and that's part of how you get all these lovely sort of accidental blurring of lines. But then if you tape it down, then it dries flat, which is beautiful. If you don't tape it down, then it stays wobbly, which is fine. But
now you see, that's like a
it
best
to be
kept
flat.
secret. Like
Right?
I didn't know that. You just tape it down, and it's so easy. Anybody can do that, really.
So I've done my sky up here. I'm going to leave these clouds to dry, and then I'm coming over into my watercolor paints here. Now, my dad gave me this set of paints when I was 15 years old, and I've been painting with them ever since. And these are watercolor pans, but you can also get watercolors in tubes. Some people like the tubes, but I've just always used this kind, so that's what I stick with.
Now I noticed you
And
have
what have I done with my
that brush. You had a bigger brush.
I have a bunch of different brushes. Having a decent brush, honestly, can make all the difference. And you have to look after them a little bit. You know, store them upright in a jar or something rather than having them roll around in your pencil case. But an old brush, and I bet everybody who has ever tried to paint with an old brush will know what I mean. It's like trying to paint with a shaggy old toothbrush, and it's enough to make you weep and to give up and never want to do it again.
Yeah, we want to keep going. It's kind of like having that right knife for the kitchen.
Exactly.
It makes
it's
all
like
the difference in the
tools
world.
make all the difference. So I'm putting some darker paint up the top and then washing my brush a little bit and then sort of moving that paint down to make it a little bit lighter at the bottom.
Beautiful.
So this is a little bit like a cooking show because I've cheated and I've got one in advance ready to go. So I'm going to switch this out.
Let's
it's
see
like
it.
just, you didn't even see this. It's like, whoa! It's like, oh, look, one already prepared with the stage that we got to. So we've got the sky and the sea. The beautiful thing about the Chinese ink is that it's waterproof. So you can go over the top.
So you can paint on top of that.
Exactly,
Okay.
with a color wash, and it won't all blur and get all smudgy. So we can make the sky whatever color we want.
You know, I have to just say something about the sky in Hello Lighthouse. It is so beautifully done. It almost tells a story. There's such an emotional quality as the sky changes throughout.
That's true. I mean, we can put a lot of emotion into a picture with color, and the waves were another way of sort of expressing some of just the life that was happening in this book. Because although it all takes place in the round rooms of a lighthouse, it's all of life, and you know, all of life means change, and it means sometimes loss, and it means birth and life and reunions, and all of those things happen in any kind of rooms. But it was just sort of concentrated because this lighthouse is in the middle of the ocean, and so while life is happening on the inside, it's also happening on the outside with storms and clouds and waves. And I'm going to put a little bit of pink down the bottom, like a little kind of glimmer of
the dawning of something
down here.
You know, I was saying as we were thinking about getting together and talking about the book, you know, it just makes me weepy in the best way. You know, it makes me so happy.
I'm happy and sad to hear that, but mostly happy.
Right.
I know it's a funny thing to be glad that somebody's weeping, but kids have said that to me too, that it makes them happy,
it's
sad,
like,
and
it's so
yeah,
beautiful.
sort of joyful and melancholy, a bit like life. So I'm going to cheat again and move ahead because I'll show you a little bit of this. The next step really is to do the little waves, and I do these with a pointier brush, and starting sort of on the horizon line, making just little tiny waves along like this.
Sounds like a stipple effect. Now, if I'm starting out and how do I begin? If I want to get a brush, where do I get my brush? Just basic art supply store, or?
Yes, you can go to an art supply store. Of course, you can buy everything online nowadays. You can buy fairly inexpensive brushes in bundles, so you can have a range of different sizes. So I'm sort of just making these waves a little bit bigger in each row, and here we go. Here's one that
and those waves, it just brings it to life. I mean,
it's already done like that.
Voila.
Magic. And so then you might have noticed that when I did these washes across, this area stayed white with the shape of the lighthouse.
Stuck to the lighthouse.
There's a little trick here. It's a little sneaky thing. It's called masking film. And before I started, I cut out my shape of a lighthouse and I stuck it down on here. And that's a way to keep whatever you want underneath it white. So then when you've finished your washes and you're ready to do the details of the lighthouse, you peel off this piece of masking film, which is a little bit like taking off a Band-Aid.
So you have to cut that, though,
You cut it out into the shape you want, exactly. Maybe you want to have a white house and a dark night or something like that. You could cut out your house shape. And then we're kind of ready to do the details of the lighthouse. The little, this is called the cupola, which is the bit that goes on the top. And then there's the lantern room.
And now you're using a pencil
I'm using
to get
a
that
pencil,
detail.
exactly, to put these details in. Here's the lantern room windows. This part is called the gallery of the lighthouse.
Now, you visited a lot of lighthouses.
I did,
right?
which, isn't that, well, from being an author as well, isn't research just some of the best part of any kind of
You go to the place
picture book process? That's right, you can, I mean, if you
just brings it to life.
We're so lucky, aren't we? It's such a fantastic job because you can go and visit a lighthouse, for instance, and stay there. Or with Finding Winnie, I went to the London Zoo. Traveling and researching, it almost doesn't feel like work, It's just...
And it's so interesting, when I read Hello Lighthouse, which I've done a gazillion times now, when I first read it, it didn't even occur to me that people lived in those lighthouses. A whole family, a whole life was going on inside that lighthouse.
And some of them, a lighthouse that I visited that looked like this, 11 children were born in that lighthouse. So I'm going to speed ahead again. So then I will go back to my Chinese ink to put in the shadows and things of the lighthouse and
look at that.
Painting in the rocks. And again, the lovely thing is with the Chinese ink is being able to paint over the top with the watercolor
Should I grind a little more for you there? Now, right, so we're back with paint now.
I'm going to put back with paint. I'm going to put in some brown here for the stones. And let's see. Oh, see, this is the fun part. This is like getting to the very end with the little details, which is like, let's see. I think we need this, like the little red door.
Oh, that brings it to life.
Right?
I love that we're kind of sort of collaborating a little bit. I'm just here working with the China ink.
Collaborating is the best. It's the best fun.
It's
Making
fun, right?
something together, and I think.
Boy, look at that door.
I'm going to hand this to you to put on the very finishing touch, which is the little red cupola on top, which is a little bit like. It's a little bit like the cherry on the top of the sundae, I think. Are you ready?
May I?
Please.
Cherry on the sundae of the
Please, I hope
lighthouse.
I've primed that brush
Okay,
enough
no
for
pressure,
you.
everybody. Okay, I'm just dotting that. Woo. All right, well, it's a flag. And when all else fails, yeah. Okay. Well, it's a flag, Cherry. It's really making a statement there.
Oh.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, again, if you'd like to ask Sophie a question, just post it in the comments section. We're watching as some of the questions come in. We've got 3 questions available. Sophie, probably the first one is, how do you draw the cherry on top and not make it slide into the lighthouse? So TJ on Facebook says, this is amazing. I agree with you, TJ. Thanks, KidLit TV. The Squiggle swap was great. Squiggle swap.
Squiggle swap.
Mary asks, Sophie, what's your next book?
My next book is called If You Come to Earth, and I have been working on it for 5 long years.
We're waiting for that book to come to Earth.
But it is, exactly, it is a kid writing a letter to a visitor from another planet explaining the world. So if you come to Earth, here's what you need to know. But as you can imagine, it's everything in the world. So it's just going to take a little bit longer.
Oh, well, I'm on Earth and there's a lot I need to know, so I am looking forward to that book. The educator's spin on it says, that's interesting that Chinese ink is waterproof. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
I discovered that by accident, and sometimes that's how the best things happen, playing and discovering things by accident.
Those happy accidents.
Yeah.
Well, Sophie, thank you so much for being our first guest and for inspiring us to be fearlessly creative. We can't wait to see what viewers draw and paint on their own. Use #TheBigPictureLive to share your art with us. And thank you again, Sophie.
Oh,
we
thank
will
you,
see you
Andrea.
next time on The Big Picture Live. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.